50 years of Football Focus. As soon as I say 50 years, what emotion does that bring out in you? Because I know how special the show is to you.
It's very special. It means a huge amount to me. It's been a wonderful part of my life, Football Focus.
This is Football Focus. We're off to a flyer.
Well, that's a super way to start.
This is Predictable.
Oh.
I never realised that nostalgia was so popular.
Tensions are mounting.
There's no let up in the pace.
Anything can happen today.
Football Focus from my house.
Here's Football Focus. Hogwarts.
Hello and welcome to Football Focus.
Hi everyone, sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything?
Is it bring back memories?
Oh my God, I've got the nerves. You know,
You used to get nervous.
Oh, I was dreadful. I always got nervous before a programme. And I mean, I come here and I look at that now and my stomach's sort of full.
My studio. 2, 1, and take.
BBC took a big chance because, you know, I was goalkeeper and I was coming towards the end of my career.
Here's up Smith, Callahan, Kinsey, and a great save by Wilson. Tremendous save by Wilson.
But I'd been doing quite a lot of punditry work, whether it be Match of the Day or whether it be World Cups or things like that.
And our studio guest tonight is Bob Wilson, the Arsenal goalkeeper, whose team scored 6 today. No wonder he looks pleased.
And they put it to me and I knew that I was running out of time as a player. But it was a big decision for me to take because my testimonial was due. This could be a career, another career. I had a school teaching career. I was a physical education and history teacher. And then suddenly there was this opportunity of not only presenting but having my own programme. And it was then up to me to make sure that people at home would accept me as a former player and make sure that, as you know now, the bottom line is the entertainment that it provides, the knowledge it provides, the interviews it provides and everything else.
Thanks, Des. Hello, welcome back to Football Focus, and let me just remind you again that the 86th season of the oldest football championship in the world is already underway.
To me, I can always remember it being quite a big studio, because once I had done Football Focus, I would go off and do a game and then come back to do a 1-minute report off the top of your head, as it were. And I can always remember standing at the back of the studio and the big, you know, big space. Studios needed to be big. There were lots of cameras involved.
Well, if you give me the first 2 on there.
Obviously for me, Focus, I still hear us sitting there, or I still see us sitting there, 3 or 4 who know, now we've got to find a new title for it. It's not going to be Football Preview. And then the little brain that was Motti, or the big brain that there was Motti, suddenly went, I've got a title for it, Football Focus. And we all said, oh, that sounds perfect.
Robert Wilson, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Born...
Present, sir.
Born Musselburgh, 1934.
Musselburgh?
Yeah. 29th of the 6th, 34. Would that be you?
Thanks, Des.
I was made from day one to sit down and write my own script. And it was like, yeah, okay. I took about an hour or 2 to do these scripts and everything. And he came in and said, you can't do that. Can't do. It's like my being back at school. You can't do that. He said, because we need time to put up if you're talking about a specific person.
Who's that on line 1?
Stephen Fry,
Hello, Stephen. How old are you?
16.
16. Now tell me which goal you'd like to see.
Luque's goal for Argentina against France.
Luque's goal. What a tremendous goal that was, wasn't it? Well, I think our men are already spinning the reels and they're chasing that goal for you. Just tell me what in particular appealed to you about it.
We needed to be in a specific area so that we got time to actually have it on the screen. It wasn't instant pressing of buttons.
Anyway, Stephen, here you are with your goal, Luque's tremendous drive for Argentina in that game against France.
So they made me learn the hard way.
Did you love that adrenaline?
Oh, the adrenaline never, ever, ever left. All the real work had been done on the day before.
Yeah.
Writing scripts and making sure, you know, had we got somebody to interview and depending on who I had to interview, I would always think, oh my goodness me, you know, am I capable of interviewing Don Revie? Am I capable of interviewing whoever it might be?
As for our studio guest, World Cup winner, honorary Irish citizen, and in my early career, a pain in the neck.
Johnson, a goal!
Jack Charlton, welcome. Great goal, wasn't it?
You were flapping a bit there, weren't you?
We had a few battles along the road, you
Oh,
and I.
yeah, one or two.
And you must enjoy it to see Coventry City in the cup final, the Midlands side.
It's given us such a boost in the Midlands, you can't believe it. You're a lot a bit isolated down here, away from us peasants in the Midlands.
I can remember one programme where suddenly they yell in my ear, "We've just heard that Joe Jordan, he's okay to play, Joe Jordan." And that was in my ear as I'm talking and presenting the programme. I had one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
Go on, what happened?
Because off the top of my head, I then said, just before we continue, we've just got some news. I came out, we've just heard that Joe Jordan has just pissed a late fatness
No.
test. And, you
Then
know,
how did you react?
I didn't know I'd said it. I carried on.
And cut ball.
Hello, well, you could say that. Stand by for a fairly unpredictable focus, because I did say it would be unpredictable, because joining us throughout the next 25 minutes, we have two football mad and racing crazy individuals. I'll try and get them to calm down just for a moment.
I loved it whenever we had a live guest, because that in itself was a challenge, you know. How, you know, the person sitting opposite you, how are they going to respond when I'm going to, maybe in a manager's case, say, you know, you've just lost 6 games on the bounce. What are you going to do about it, or whatever, you know, wondering what's going to go through his head.
Well, today's focus reflects the crazy situation facing our international squads. It's a problem our special guest, England manager Bobby Robson, knows all about after 1 year in charge.
Going back, I saw a clip 1979, Brian Clough.
Yes, and I'm talking about the people who run your show. Don't try and justify it or pick things out and bore us all to tears with your lectures. We get in too much of that, and I suggest you shut up and show more football.
In a way, yeah, it upset me that, you know, Brian could physically get hold of me, but he was sticking up for his corner, as it were. It was the same with other individuals like Sir Alex Ferguson. Liam Brady once had been on and made something comment about the signings of 2 of his players, and Alex made sure that he let me know that. And even now, you know, I mean, I like to say the friendship that we have, you know, has come all the way from those years of Football Focus and him not being too happy with me on a couple of occasions.
Okay, good.
You paved the way to be the first from that player to actually being the sports presenter and opened up doors for so many after you.
Gary, must be a bit of a strange day for you. First day of the season, no playing involvement.
It's different. I think that the first day of the season everybody really looks forward to. Until you've played about 15 minutes. The first day it's always boiling hot.
It's pretty hard keeping up with all that's happening on the football front. FA Cup, Milk Cup, and in midweek the 3 European competitions. Hello, 2 of our greatest sporting events dominate Grandstand today. One of them is only just beginning, the other is reaching its climax.
Speaking about the good times in football and the guests and the fondest memories, but also the tough times. How did you handle situations like that on the show?
We're talking about Hillsborough. I mean, that remains with me one of the saddest days ever in my life. I mean, even now, I could lose the plot, because I was in the chair on that day, and I remember how it was affecting me at the time.
Unbelievable, tragic pictures there from Hillsborough. I would reiterate that the ambulance services there say that some 50 people have lost their lives this afternoon.
And everybody was affected so greatly in that way, you know, for it to happen in a major semi-final, in a great ground. In the end, it shouldn't have happened. Yeah, I mean, I just pray that there will never, ever, ever be anything like that again.
Back comes Football Focus and Match of the Day in pursuit of the newest title of all, the Premier League.
The inception of the Premier League happened in '92. How did the image of football and the coverage of football revitalise itself?
Bob Wilson in 1974 hasn't changed. Football Focus made its debut that year. And Gary Lineker at that time, no doubt a Focus fan. He's messed about in the game a bit since then, but today it's Lineker and Wilson, the dream team, as Football Focus returns.
I think the game in general has had a huge lift from the time that the Premier League really came into being.
First 2 weeks of the season, always 2 matches a week. I'm just thrilled that the Focus is back, Steve.
We were trying to make sure that we were projecting the game in the way that you would want the game to be projected.
We did get involved in Alan Shearer, but we just felt Dion Double was an alternative.
Said this so many times with the players that Manchester United have got, they can only help me.
And obviously that came through the managers, the players, the people who watch the game. And there always will be great stories.
Nice to have you and do the first in-depth interview with you on Football Focus.
And here's another guy who's not doing a bad job either. Kevin Keegan.
Why have you decided to come out and have your say almost?
If you are a manager for a club or for a country, things going wrong, you have to speak out, and here I am, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
We're not over-exaggerating to say we shall never forget the time we spent in Camp Bastion, so thank you very much.
The bottom line for me is the game of football being projected in the way that I would want it to be projected, that people at home who love the game are saying, oh wow, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy this, you know?
Very good afternoon.
Gary, how are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us. You must have been delighted at the start.
I was. Not so delighted with this sprinkler coming on, though, so
It looks like
just
it's
soak
on
me.
your head.
Just soak me.
We're occasionally talking about their particular team. We're talking about individual players.
Robbie, which one did I press to get down again?
This one.
See? I'm taking shots for you, look. Go on, hey! Shoot! Shoot!
We could do with another George, couldn't we, in the game?
Yes, yes. And that somewhere out there, there's a young man who will make a name bigger than George Best.
Okay. To be in my shoes is not easy. I'm unbelievable inside the pitch. This is why the people have so much interest on me.
We're actually embracing what certainly you and I believe football should be and how important it is in people's lives.
It's the first time actually I speak about it like this, but I had that for a couple of years where I just didn't find the real purpose.
When you're watching the people, how they fight for their lives, please don't ignore this. We need to stop the war.
What happened to Gary has and still makes a lot of people think about their friends and those around them, and I'd like to think that's a good thing.
Did you know, sitting in the chair though, that the show would have the ability, like it has done for so many years, to impact people the way it has beyond football?
Not really. I think, you know, it was week to week for me, certainly at that particular time. And then gradually, as things grew, then yes, I think anybody who presents the programme, you know, has to remember that you are representing the guy on the terrace, the girl on the terrace.
Can you believe that now this is where the Lionesses play?
Yeah, it's like unreal, isn't it? Absolutely unreal. Quite emotional. How much has this place changed?
Well, you know, I mean, the basic structure obviously hasn't changed, and the fountain behind us, and this area here, where it's like, oh, you know, well, let's go in there and let's do the programme. I could do the hello and goodbye, see you next week, but...
I'll do the bits in between.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, teamwork,
definitely.
that's what it's about.
It's our final Football Focus of the season, and after 37 years, the last at this old place.
New set, new season, but still the best way to start your football weekend. Bob, I want to read something because it was such a special moment for me to even get the opportunity to be sitting in that chair, but...
Oh my goodness, are you going to embarrass me here?
No, because it still makes me emotional when I opened this email from you. You wrote, "Good morning, Alex. Megs and I were thrilled to hear you were taking over from Dan as the presenter of Football Focus. Congratulations on this appointment and all that you have achieved on and off the field of play. I do hope you enjoy the new role as much as I did. Of course, I will be watching and willing you on. Love and every best wish, Bob. P.S. I almost forgot to add, Arsenal FC are going to be back leading Focus." Bob, that email, I don't know if I ever had the chance to explain to you at the time, meant so much to me.
The transfer market has been pretty active this week. Witness the empty chair alongside me, filled for something like the last 20 years by Bob Wilson. But but now departed to our friends and rivals at ITV. They've got a good man, and we've lost an excellent colleague.
It's great to see that Football Focus is still there. It means so much to so many people, and when I look back now and I see all the friends that I made and, you know, all the years that I did present it and everything, I understand why, because it is so important in people's lives.
So we're going to look at a few of those nail-biting moments now, and we're ready to start our nostalgia spot, John Motson.
Well, you said you watch Football Focus.
I do, yeah, I do. Keep it light, keep it snappy, keep it focused.
I'm nervous. I'm very, very nervous.
Shall we have a tenner on it?
No, you don't mind because I'm a journalist.
You know that goal that everyone talks about?
That goal.
That goal. You think it was all worth it?
Huddersfield or Forest to win in the playoffs.
I won't get out of here if I have to do that.
It's the football club.
Extra content there.
My dream is English football.
Do you want this in shot?
That's okay, that top. It's a bit of a surprise for an old boy.
Thanks for those. Yes.
Oh no, I've just been stitched up.
Everyone's cheering around the country.
I'm stuck in the slide.
I'm not entirely sure how that's happened.
We all love it. We're all crazy.
Come on, you know the script. I'll say something, you cheer.
Thanks very much for joining me. Let me hand you back to David Coleman.
Bob, thank you so much for taking us down memory lane with Football
It's a
Focus.
pleasure, Alex. Absolute pleasure.